But I think you should be able to back that up.
Yeah,
you
if you're
start
going to
commenting on my clothes.
Yeah.
Just don't fucking do it.
No, but if you do and it's friendly, and then I say, "Are you trying to say you want to bang me?" You should be able to handle that.
I agree.
Like, don't walk past any woman, especially one you don't know, and go wah wah. Don't do that. That's basic.
Well, why are you saying it like I do that?
No, I'm saying that's like so basic. Like, obviously you don't do that.
No.
Please welcome to the stage.
So, Sindhu,
Stuart.
thanks for joining us here. We're talking about your special alphabet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alphabet, the best special.
Please do not integrate me, please.
Welcome to the stage, Sindhu Vee!
It just so happened I married a Danish man. So then what was our choice? Move to Denmark, which makes the weather in the UK look like Bahamas, so no. Or move to India, where the first time my husband gets high quality, top shelf food poisoning, he dies.
I rewatched it, and it's gorgeous. It's funny. It's a joy. I directed it, so I've got to say a lot of those things.
I mean, I rarely compliment myself, you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I rarely compliment anyone, really, let's be honest, but me the least. And I will say, it's like, do you remember when we started and I said I want it to look like a gift?
Yes.
And it does. It looks like a present
Yeah.
with all the right coloring and all the right textures. And yeah, that is down to Turtle Canyon. Can't lie.
A wonderful team, Al and Cash. In fact, it was you three together that spotted the guy wearing a jumper or a shirt.
A shirt.
That you wanted the back drape to be the same color
Yeah,
as.
and then we had to surreptitiously take a photo, but it was of his back.
Yes, yeah, we
Didn't
never got his
matter.
face.
But then, because we are decent, I mean, Al more than you,
Yeah.
and Cash is the most decent. We credited him in the outfit.
Isn't that weird that this man is walking around, he doesn't know he's been
Yeah.
credited
On-
in a thanks.
on such a beautiful special?
Yeah. He's credited as like the man in BAFTA with the green.
I love that. I also loved all those things about it, that like I have this sensibility of doing little things that only matter to me
Yeah.
in the credits, in this, because as much as a special is for other people to watch, you know, it was the first time I had done something that I had the courage to say all the things this is about. At some point, I wanted it like this, or I asked for it, or we discussed it. I'd never done that before. Because, you know, when you're a stand-up, you're like, okay, I'm going to the club, I'm going to tell jokes, but you don't get to pick what it looks like or where the people are sitting. And I never thought I had that capacity. I thought that's what creative people do. I just am a stand-up. I think it was working with you guys on, just working with you guys on Alphabet that I had to really decide, am I a creative person in a larger way?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I am.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. And so I think it was like, oh, and you're investing a lot of money, so can you experiment? And then one day I was like, well, we're going to find out. And I didn't also know that you could ask and say, I would like it like this. And then you'd have people like you and Alan Cash who were like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll never forget saying I wanted the alphabets. I had this image, they were hanging, and you guys were like, mm-hmm. And I was like, are they hearing me? Like, I thought it was the most weird idea, could never be done. And you guys just made it happen.
Yeah.
So that's made me, if anything, more of a diva.
Yes, now you know that if you ask for something, you can get it.
Yeah.
We've ruined the rest of the industry for you.
No, you ruined it for them.
Oh,
I'm fine. I'm going to be asking all the way now.
Every single meeting, have people like, why are you like this? Why do you keep asking for stuff?
It's Turtle Canyon.
Yeah.
And also, don't sit there. I want you to sit there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm asking everything now. But it was incredible. And I think I said this to you guys on the day. When I saw the set, I was like, this is what was in my head. And I think it's also interesting when you haven't spent all of your life in a creative industry, you think you have this idea that maybe it was all produced and then the artist was just stuck in the middle of it. Maybe. But you also saw this, where it can come that way. I had this idea, I put it to you guys did a lot of collaborating, and then, so it can be organic. I didn't realize that.
100%. And sometimes people do want to just literally turn up and be like, right, I'll do my show. I don't mind what it looks like.
Even for a special?
Yeah, some people are just like, yeah, I don't mind. I get, I like the color blue. And then you just sort it all out. But some people are like, this is my vision. This is what here's some things I like. Can we talk about it?
Yes.
And yeah, I remember, I first became aware that you wanted to work with us. Do you remember where?
At the Christmas thing.
Yeah, off menu.
Yes.
Christmas show at where is that? On South Bank.
It was a beautiful place, yeah.
Yeah.
And my kid was there only to meet James Acaster.
Yeah.
And she was like both appalled and pleased that I was somehow involved in something that James was in. So I was like, why don't you just come and say hello?
That's the only reason I'd have a kid, by the way, is so that they could meet James Acaster. That's how I'd get
And
them.
then James would be like, no.
No, I'm not meeting Stuart's kid.
Are you kidding?
I think he would turn down meeting my kid.
I think James is nice. He might meet the kid and be like, by the way, Stuart's not your dad.
Yes, that's true.
Something like that, just to keep it.
Yeah.
But he'd meet the kid.
He'd meet the kid.
Okay, poor James. He's not even here to defend himself.
And he wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, you just grabbed me. Like, we had met beforehand, but I don't know if you knew that we'd met.
Yeah, I think very like this, like comedy world.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
production world.
So I worked on a thing in 2017, I think.
In a foreign country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was it?
No, in 2017 I worked on a radio show for Audible that you were a guest on.
Didn't you do something in another country in Wales?
In Wales, and then in 2018.
I made it sound like we were in Egypt. Wales is another country, though.
Yeah.
Wasn't that there?
Yes.
Yes.
So you did. I think that was maybe the first TV show that we did. That was
Yes.
yeah.
That I remember.
This year, I will have been married 20 years. And thank you. 20 years. Single biggest achievement of my mother's life. After 20 years of marriage, what I realized is if you want to stay married and stay happy, absolutely not the same thing along the way. You have to always try for one thing, which is to win. Yeah.
We did that with Little Wonder, who do
Yes.
Machynlleth and
Yes.
Aberystwyth Comedy Festival.
I'll say
and
that
a load of
again. I
TV.
can't say it.
Machynlleth?
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, we were very excited that you'd said yes to doing it. And my mum came to those recordings, and you have been her favourite stand-up comedian ever since.
I love Mrs. Laws.
Anyway, it goes by Mrs. Wildman now.
I love Mrs. Wildman. Mrs.
Yeah.
Wildman, if you're watching, I love you.
There you go. She'll absolutely love that. The other thing she also likes is that Rosie Jones called her a cunt once.
See, I think that's rude, but if it pleased you, that's fine. See you next Tuesday. That's what it's called in my house, because the children know that I won't allow them to say it to each other in front of me.
Yes, but you know they're saying it behind.
They say, yeah, you're a see you next Tuesday, mate. That's succeed.
That's one of my favourite bits, is when you talk about how there is absolutely no way you are going to integrate, but that you have provided 3.
Fully integrated.
And by the way, let me say, there are some things about British kids I love. Young British kids will come to you and they'll say, please, thank you, delighted, is this a butter knife? You're like, oh, amazing, wow. But what I did not want was a child who answers me back, and a child who genuinely, despite my best efforts to explain, thinks that paper instead of water is adequate hygiene.
When I stop a black cab,
Yeah.
I look and say, I'm going to Soho, please. My son says, we're going to Soho, mate. And then the guy says, cheers. I'm like, it's like talking to a really English person, like a British person. I'm just like, God, it's so shocking. I've never looked into a cab and said, please, can we go to Pinewood, mate? Like, it wouldn't occur to me to say that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you were just being very formal with it.
No, I just say, sir, can we go to Pinewood? Or, mate?
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. What?
All right, geezer.
All right, geezer. Also,
Yeah.
I don't say that.
Drop us off at the boozer.
I never said that either.
You never said drop us off at the boozer.
And then also they have this thing because they are. And actually, I'm proud of the fact that I didn't pressure them to be any other way. I mean,
Yeah.
I pressured them to be some things, but in terms of being here and growing up being as British as you or anyone else, and they truly have absorbed it completely.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting to me that it's so natural to them. But I suppose it would be because they've grown up here.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
have friends who are not from here, whose kids are probably maybe a little bit more Americanized, or, they don't have that same ease of it. Somehow my kids have really.
Without doxing, like
What is doxing?
where you give away personal details about things.
But I love to do that. Have you
Oh,
seen my
yeah.
special?
Yeah, you do actually sort of give away a huge amount of personal information. Right. Some of your kids are in America now, right? What's the percentage of them that is British, Indian, Danish, American?
It's very interesting because recently I was talking to them about this, because all three of them are in town. And obviously one is a child, so she lives at home with the other two. And I was saying, because they don't really behave Indian at all.
Can I just ask what behaving Indian is?
Well, like for example, if someone like Hindu, like if someone says, do you want to have a burger? One of them will say no, because she knows I don't eat beef, and Hindus, we don't eat beef. The other two are like, yes, in fact, can I have beef tartar? Like where it's talking some, and I'm like, they don't do it in front of me. But I mean, they have no problem eating beef, which
Right.
to me is like surprising because it's never cooked at home. And no, there's meat at home, but not beef.
Yeah.
So I said to them, do you guys, like which side, like how Danish, how British, how Indian? And they were like, oh yeah, we feel Danish. They feel very Danish.
Really?
Very Danish, yeah, super Danish. And of course, we're from here, blah, blah. I said, well, what about Indian? They're like, yeah, we feel Indian. I'm like, but you don't at all, I don't see it. You know what they said? Yeah, we're not intense Indian like you. And I was like, what does that mean? They were like, you're just like so intense about it all the time. And I was like, well, what's the unintense version? And they were like, we are. And then they left.
I mean, to be fair, today you have turned up with chai and dal.
Okay, the dal was for you, and the chai is for me. That's true. But I think what it is I don't think you could, if my children never told you that they had anything to do with India, you would never ask them.
Yeah.
Maybe the
I
young.
wouldn't, because I'm white, British,
But you
liberal.
do a great Indian accent, as we all know. I know you don't, but I'm still trying. My whole life, I will try to get you
You
to
and
do it.
Abhishek are desperate to get me
Yeah,
to do
and
it.
we're going to get you to do it. We're going to find you, trap you in a room,
Yeah.
and make you do it and then when you do it, we'll tape it, and
Yeah.
we love it.
Sometimes the trying to justify why I'm allowed to do it just gets more ludicrous sometimes.
But you should do it. You are we're saying do it.
Yeah, you're saying, no, it's Stuart, you're allowed to do it because you've been there.
Yeah, and you jogged at 2 in the afternoon
Yeah,
in
that is
Bombay.
true.
Anyone who's done that can do the accent.
Yeah, that is, okay, I'll do the accent at the end of this.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So, so I don't think you'd ever know,
Yeah.
which does not bother me at all. It doesn't, because at the end of the day, they're half Indian. Whether they know it or not, I can't help it.
you can't help it.
No, but it's in them.
Yeah.
It's going to show up one day, and they're going to just have to deal.
That routine to do with integration and then to do with your kids, was that where that show started?
It's hard to know where that show started.
Interesting. So what was the first performance of it? So we filmed it in 2024?
Yeah. That show started to come together. Parts of that show were coming together in 2019.
Yeah.
But then I shelved it because my mother had a stroke. And then as she was getting better, it was so funny, sad funny, but also funny. So I started to write a show called Stroke Me, which was about my relationship with my mother and our family and the wider world
Yeah.
while she was recovering. And it was a very funny show. But then, out of the blue, she passed away. And that was very unexpected given her recovery. And then I just couldn't read that show again. I had written it in a day. I'd sat and just written out the structure. I've never done that in my life.
Yeah.
And I just could not go back to it. Because also it was very much based on the fact that she would get better and watch it and be like, I did say that.
Yeah.
She was very violent towards the doctor at all times. spoke to the doctor a lot about how unattractive he was because she didn't like physiotherapy. So it was hilarious. Suggested to the doctor's wife who came to visit her that she would pay for a divorce lawyer because she could get unmarried to this idiot. The lady was like, but I have a happy marriage. She's like, you think you do? He's awful. And also all delivered through one side of her face because she was paralyzed on the other side. It was incredibly funny.
Yeah.
And a family that's going through that, you have only two choices. You either sink or you look at what's funny.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't write that after she passed away. So then I just parked it. And I went back to some of the stuff that had come together in 2019. And then it went on tour in 21. And it was a lot of what we saw in Alphabet, it was called Alphabet, and a lot of what we saw in our special was there. But there was a certain, there was a punchiness about it when it came to stuff about my sister and I.
Yeah.
Because I had done well in comedy. She was older. She always thought I was a bit of an idiot. And I thought, oh, she's going to watch this and be so angry and it'll be so funny. But then in the beginning of 21, my sister passed away. So Alphabet, I couldn't write something that was, the premise was, ha ha, I said this about you, you're my sibling, what are you going to do? Well, because what could she do? So then I think the Alphabet that we filmed became, so the heart of the Alphabet that we filmed became the loss of my mother and sister. And there's a bit in there about how my mother, what she meant.
Yeah.
And then the last story, which is the Alphabet story, I wanted to do it as an ode.
Yeah.
To a sibling that I wasn't particularly close to, but she was my elder sister. She had a humongous effect on my psychology.
One time when I'd moved to the UK, my mother called me from Delhi. And she said, hello, listen. So you know your big sister? She has gone a little bit to the jail. So Why has she gone to jail? People go to jail, that is why jail is there. You are always going to be stupid. Anyway, listen. She's coming home tomorrow. I want flowers to be waiting for her. You please send them. And then I want you to phone her. Don't tell her I told you what has happened. Just one chit chat. It will make her feel better. And don't tell anyone else. It is a very big family secret.
And then, as you know, in 22, my father died. So that made one part of Alphabet easier, the prison story, because he would not have appreciated me. Doxing. Oh, so much doxing.
So much doxing.
By telling that story. But then I felt like I was writing a letter to the three of them. But I was, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I was always the funny one.
Yeah.
And so I was making it funny, like I would have told them the story. But I was also making it very, very beautiful because it was like an offering. And, in Hinduism, when you offer anything, whether it's to your teacher or at the temple, you have to make it as beautiful as you can, as a sign of your devotion, really. So so I think that's what happened with our special, is it had to become all those things for me to be able to have it live somewhere forever.
Yeah, and it very much feels, obviously there's a lot of death involved in it, in the show and in it coming together and how it evolved. But it is a beautiful, it's harsh at times, but in a funny and loving way.
Yeah.
Which I think is the truth of when people close to you pass away, that it doesn't, there's sometimes an attempt to smooth off all those edges. And actually that's not really an accurate representation of things.
No, and I think in order to know how to live, it's not the best way to learn, but sometimes you become very acquainted with how it is to live by watching up close what it is to have people you care about pass away. And I think the energy of we're going to do this, I want this green, I want this gold, and remember, and I want the alphabet. That, I don't think I have the energy now for that. If now with the next special we do, if you say, Sindhu, it's blue, I'll be like, fine. kind of. But the energy I brought to that was, I think, very much, it was an energy about life and about doing things well and enjoying them. And I think that came from all that loss. Because guess what? When it's done, it's done. So you may as well make the most of all the time you have when it's not done.
It definitely felt like a culmination project.
Yeah.
In like a lot of career stuff as well, in terms of like you had sort of stepped to a new like level, and that, you know, this show had, you know, been on tour for a long time, and it was like a flag in the sand of like, look, this is what I'm doing now. This is once this is out, I'm into a new chapter. Sort of thing.
Yes, and I won't tell these jokes. I think the other thing that happened was that up until then, my entire career and my consciousness as a comedian had been like as if it was in a house I knew well. It was my parents, my sister, my kids, and it was a house, the foundations were very strong, there was a roof. But by the time we were filming Alphabet, that house had blown, you know, and I was like, because I realized that my fundamental anchor was my parents and that's my family. Of course, I have my kids, but I somehow was very anchored, also because I moved and I left India. And so I never felt displaced because I had them.
Yeah.
When they all chose to take off, which, by the way, I do think it was rude in some ways to just make it so it's like, what?
Yeah, the scheduling is crazy.
No, honestly, I just thought, well, come on, nah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Jesus. So then I felt truly displaced. And I think it was that having to perform Alphabet outside of any context that felt familiar meant it all had to be in the show. That was going to have to hold me down. And I knew that when I filmed Alphabet, I knew this even before, and then we put it out, I would be a new comic.
Yes, yeah.
Which I did Sandhog, which I loved, but I wasn't a different comic. Maybe my proficiency was different, but I didn't feel different going from Sandhog to Alphabet because the house was the same.
Yes.
I knew after Alphabet, and you know, for a long time I thought I wouldn't write another show. Also, Paul Byrne, my director, passed away in that same 2.5-year period. And everything I know about how to structure a show out of my material, Paul had taught me. And he had just sort of gotten me to not even sixth form. Just like, you know, those years before sixth form, when you're like between your GCSEs and your A levels, you're still trying to figure out what do I want to do? Because I've done 11 GCSEs or 10 GCSEs. And he left.
That's where I went from. I had my growth spurt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For you, that's okay. And when you had your growth, is that when your voice changed as well? Was that
No, it's
before?
when your dick gets longer.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I was the shortest kid in the year in just GCSE year.
Height-wise or dick size-wise?
Both.
Oh.
And then by the end of the first year of A-levels, I had popped up to 6 foot. And then my height as well also got bigger.
So exactly. So, you know.
But yeah, you were in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My comedian dick was getting was getting longer, but he wasn't there to explain to me what was going on. This analogy has to stop right now.
Yes, we'll put an end to that.
Thank you for bringing it up and kind of complicating it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so I understood that I would be a very different comic, but I couldn't see it. And I thought, what if I can't? And I didn't write a show. I didn't even think I would ever write a show again. I thought, well, that was fun. I'll just do gigs and maybe act. But, you know, I do have a show now.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever be convinced that it's a show. I think it's just an hour of material. But I've been very lucky. You've helped, other people have helped. They've watched it and they're like, relax. This makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's very new for me. Like, I feel like it's a different kind of, I guess maybe it's a bit like you were a student your whole life, but then when you go to uni, it's a new kind of student and you start from scratch.
Right, yeah.
I feel a bit like that. I'm not saying that I'm as proficient as someone who's going to uni, but I am saying it's like the same gig, but a different
So this is your third show?
Third show.
Really? So you basically, GCSEs was Sandhog,
Yeah.
A-levels was Alphabet, and now you're off to get a degree.
That, exactly.
Yeah.
And so this show is in some ways much more personal
Yeah.
without being, it's self-doxing. Before it was always doxing about
Finally.
everybody else. Yeah, because what am I going to say about them? They're
Yes.
not here.
Yeah, yeah.